I think gaming is very much like sports and things like that, in that everybody, including developers, have their favorites. They have things that they enjoy, they have things that they prefer, and that's just life, right? When we look at things, like people have things that they enjoy and favor in terms of cars, in terms of video game consoles, in terms of games themselves, in terms of their sports teams, and people really are fanatical about the sports team. So why should it come as any surprise that people are fanatical about, the consoles as well? Even developers, like, people don't believe that developers could have, that much invested into the video game sphere, because they're making games for everything. But then yet you see stuff like this and comments like that where they kind of put down Xbox and, don't think Xbox is worth very much. And that's really kind of unfortunate. I think that, especially given the fact that people still don't realize that Xbox is, in fact, doing better than any other Xbox at this particular point in time, which is absolutely phenomenal when you think about it. And outside of that, Xbox has really just kind of shown that Microsoft has learned from their mistakes, and honestly, I think that this is boding well for the future of Xbox. So I wanted to get into this because I disagree wholeheartedly with what this developer is saying, but it's his right to say it, and I'm sure that a lot of people are going to run with the negative on this. So again, we'll see what's happening. According to this, whether or not the Xbox Series S is relatively less power hardware compared to other current-gen consoles will become a problem for developers as time goes on has been a point of contention since the day Microsoft first unveiled it. And though there's no denying the advantages it presents, especially from a consumer's perspective, it's also become apparent by now that the Series S does have some limitations that could potentially lead to development issues. But I will say this again, right? People have been saying that it's going to have issues and they're going to not going to be able to do this, that, and the other thing. And they've been saying that for years, and we're coming up on a 3-year mark. So I think developers are learning more and more about this console every time they develop a game for it. And I think that they're going to be able to do much better with it time after time, like, the second time around, third time around, and things like that. So I think it's great. I think it's a great budget console. Not everybody has a 4K TV. Not everybody cares about, 120 kabillion frames per second or anything like that. Like, my kids, for instance, don't care about any of that. When they're given the choice, they could get a 4K TV or a 1080p TV. But the 1080p TV, of course, was going to be larger. They opted for the larger TV. Like, 4K means nothing to them, right? Like, a lot of kids, it means absolutely nothing to them. So it was an easy choice to kind of get as well. So Shrine 5, a Clockwork Conspiracy developer, Frozen Byte, seems to agree with the general notion in a recent interview. When asked about the Xbox Series S and whether its hardware will keep pace with its peers as the generation goes on, their marketing manager said that while the console is certainly a great option to have for those looking to purchase cheaper hardware from a development perspective, it could potentially become a quote-unquote bottleneck, especially for more technically demanding games. And I quote, "More powerful hardware is always better from a developer perspective. I think for more graphically intensive games, the Series S can become a bottleneck as supporting it is required. From a player perspective, I guess it's a nice option to have a more affordable console though. Of course, this isn't just a hypothetical at this point. Larian Studios has been facing technical difficulties with getting Baldur's Gate 3 split-screen co-op running properly on Xbox Series S, resulting in a delayed Xbox launch for the highly anticipated RPG. Now, Techland also talked about how the console's GPU was holding development back. Now, during this interview, they also revealed that Shrine 5 will run 4K 60 on PS5 and Xbox Series X, and 1440p 60 frames on Series S. So he also confirmed that the game is at least 12 hours long. So again, it's running 4K 60 on PS5 and Series X, 1440p 60 on Series S. That to me isn't a negative, that's a positive, to be honest with you. So, again, it's just one of those things that I continually see, and you could tell in this article they're kind of looking for ways to make Xbox look bad, right? Like the Xbox Series S, because a lot of people try to do that, and for whatever reason, I don't really understand the whole entire thought thought process to making Xbox try and look that bad. So when you see stuff like this pop up, I do kind of question it, and I go, listen, they're trying to come up with all these games that had issues or whatever, but even Techland got the game running 60 frames per second on the Series X, or Series S, excuse me. So, I don't believe that it's this huge problem that some people do believe that it is, and I would also say that, in my opinion anyway, it's one of those things where sometimes developers can be lazy, and I get that they have a lot of consoles to dev for and things like that. But I think that at the end of the day, Microsoft made the right choice coming out with a console that was more budget friendly, because it allows a lot of people to get into the generation and even get into the Xbox ecosystem that previously wasn't able to, which I think is always a good thing. So, again, when you see developers kind of badmouth it, and, it seems like they might not even be willing to try to make things better or get things running up to par on there. It's just Xbox or what have you, so they just kind of do things this way, and I don't agree with that at all. I think that's probably the wrong way to do things. And for an article that seems like it was looking for negative things because they wanted to be negative, I look at this and I go, well, they could only really find a couple instances of developers really mentioning anything. So it can't be that bad considering all the games that come out. Now, again, would some games have to... they never promised 60 frames on every game. So yeah, some games might be 30 on there that are 60 on the Series X. But again, the person that's buying a Series S might not honestly care about that frame rate issue. So, again, it really kind of depends on what's going on in the industry and how people feel about this stuff. But to say that Xbox is, bad or, for sure a bottleneck or whatever, I don't think that. I think that kind of remains to be seen. Especially when we look at over there on the PlayStation, and they were showcasing that solid state drive of the PlayStation 5, and Ratchet and Clank impossible without without the solid state drive, and then here they are. It's on PC with no solid state drive requirement whatsoever. If you want to play it best, you can have a solid state drive, but again, this is one of the things that that kind of haunts some of these developers and things when they say stuff and people kind of see it, and I don't think it ever ends exactly well for developers when they do this kind of stuff. So anyway, with that being said, let me know what you guys think. If you enjoy my content, please leave a like or subscribe. I'm Crap Gamer. This has been Crap Gamer Reviews. Rack 'em up, fact 'em up, Crap Gamer 'em up. Crap Gamer out.